Well, it looks like this is the end for Pokemon Bank, as today we've gotten an announcement from Pokemon here that yes, support for Pokemon Bank will be ending February 26th, 2027. That is next coming Pokemon Day. Very interesting. I don't know if this means they'll announce anything else for it, but the point is, yeah, Pokemon Bank, if you don't know for any reason, this is what allows you to connect your Nintendo 3DS to Pokemon Home, or basically, right, Pokemon Bank was the way to store your Pokemon during Generation 6 with the Nintendo 3DS. And so when support for the 3DS ended, and especially eShop support, we figure that might be the end of Pokemon Bank, and for the most part, or at least it was the beginning of the end. You could not get new downloads of Pokemon Bank, but if you already had it, they were going to continue supporting it until further notice, right? And here is that further notice. Currently, you're still able to use it if you have Pokemon Bank still downloaded. If you have Poké Transporter, right? That's the one that allows you to send your Pokemon from the DS to the 3DS, and then Bank lets you send it from the 3DS or lets you export it into Home, and then Home is a modern one for Nintendo Switch, mobile devices, and whatever else that basically everything post Generation 8 is connected to. That does include Fire Red and Leaf Green that were re-released on the Virtual Console earlier this year, or at least, soon it will, in October. That is a long time to wait, though. This announcement was posted today as well. Just a thing of like, oh, hey, reminder that support's coming, in the wake of Pokemon Bank shutting down. So the thing is, yes, if you have any Pokemon from older generations, you were basically able to continue transferring them up, because you can go, or at least, minus the Generation 1 and 2, because you could go from GBA to DS to 3DS, and then here you would go from Pokemon Bank into Home, so that lets you, you could go into Generation 7, forgot Generation 7's on 3DS as well, or, if you want, you could skip Gen 7 entirely for bringing something up. So if you have any of those old games, and you want to bring any of those Pokemon into modern consoles to have them in whatever game, Sword, Shield, Scarlet, Violet, whatever they happen to appear in, Pokemon Champions even, now is the time to do it. You have a few months, right? So, I can't say that this was unexpected, obviously, because I think it was like 2023 when things shut down for the 3DS. So that was kind of a sign that like, hey, look, listen, support is ending for the 3DS. We're going to keep supporting Pokemon Bank, but now you have a few years to do stuff. The thing is, I think most of my Pokemon that I really want in modern games are transferred up. Actually, if you watched a recent video, or actually it was a few months ago, I did have to do the thing where I transferred up my shiny Quagsire that I got in Pokemon Pearl, and brought it all the way into Generation 9 on the Nintendo Switch. So that's a whole process already. This could be a whole live stream where I'm transferring all my other Pokemon that are still in Generation 7, or 6 and 7, I guess, haha. That's kind of where I have them, because, I was transferring up Pokemon, and basically I don't have any Pokemon in any 3DS games that I want to hold on to, because anything older than the 3DS I've kind of reset already, or I transferred up Pokemon, and some of them are still waiting in the 3DS, so there's that. And I can definitely see why, right? Like, Pokemon is the only franchise to do this. Digimon Story Time Stranger we just got. You cannot transfer your old Digimon from other Digimon Story games into the new one. I don't know if Yokai Watch does that, if Yokai Watch is still around, but basically this is the only game that does this, and it's so crazy. I'm not saying that like, oh, we should be thankful to Pokemon or anything. Like, in a way we should, but I will say that like, it's a miracle that things were the way they were for this long. This does have a, something to say about the transfer being internet based. Again, you can still go from Generation 3 to 4 to 5 purely through wireless communications. Actually, I wonder if Poké Transporter, I think Poké Transporter might still work because it doesn't use the internet. It uses a wireless base. So actually you can still go to Gen 6, right? So you can go from Gen 3, 4, 5 to 6. However, you can't go from 6 to 7 because that one does require Pokemon Bank. and then obviously from that transferring into Pokemon Home. So you know, very unfortunate news, but like I said, now is the time to do anything you want to do. And most of the gaps have been filled out, at least. Again, you know, once we're getting Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green support for here, and then with just every other game that is on the Nintendo Switch, a handful of them are remakes or even sequels, I guess, right? Like Pokemon Legends ZA. So most of the gaps are kind of filled in for Pokemon. The thing is, you would want Pokemon Bank for the specific Pokemon. So that is, if you do catch any cool Pokemon, if you have any of the your memories right there. I genuinely have a bunch of Pokemon that I got in Generation 3 that are currently in my Gen 6 or 7 games, one of the 3DS ones, right? And, you know, I'm considering transferring them up into Switch. The thing is, you know, there are even some that I might even just want to leave on 3DS because I kind of want to just have them there. But, you know, then again, if I want to reset those games and replay them at any point, rather than buying another copy, then that's the thing. So I've got a few months to decide myself. But, so it's like, you know, they want to push this. And, like, you know, Fire and Leaf Green Virtual Console are great and all. However, there is the whole thing of, like, they are digital games. And as we're seeing right now, right... the whole thing about digital games is kind of a mess. I would have liked, you know, obviously if we got like a collection of these games, you know, made in a little physical cartridge, that'd be cool. I mean, you know, these are not big games. You can fit them on a cartridge. And that is what a lot of people wanted for the Fire Red Leaf Green re-release, to be in some sort of physical cartridge. This does also come on rumors of Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald potentially coming to Switch soon. That has been a rumor for a while, but it seems like, you know, there's just a little more talk about it. So if that is the piece, you know, it's funny, like this happened yesterday. The rumors were starting to go around yesterday. And then today, right, no more Pokemon Bank, and a reminder that, like, hey, Pokemon Home support is coming for Fire Red Leaf Green. So again, you know, if we get the Gen 3 games in their entirety, right, Fire Red Leaf Green, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, then that does fill in another gap that we're going to be missing with Pokemon Bank. Again, you know, again, extremely unfortunate, really sad. It's going to be sad to see it go. And like I said, you just really got to make sure. Again, you know, like I don't even know necessarily what to say. It's just like a whole thing of like, okay, get the word out. And like I said, I'm so surprised that Pokemon Bank lasted as long as it did, right? We're on over 10 years of Pokemon Bank. Why? Because it was introduced a little after X and Y, so it was like 2014 maybe. So, you know, we're going on like 12, almost 13 years of Pokemon Bank with this. You know, I actually don't know it specifically, but yeah, Pokemon Bank I think was more useful when going from Generation 6 to 7. Like they introduced in Gen 6, it's like, okay, this is interesting, way to start your Pokemon, okay. Then they're doing things of like, okay, brand new generation, and this is how the transfer is going to be. I really do wish that it was still a wireless transfer from Generation 6 to 7. And, you know, if they really, really wanted to, they probably could have figured something out to go from the 3DS to the Switch in terms of wireless communication. They both have it. I get what Pokemon Bank, and well, again, you know, this was a subscription-based thing, which, by the way, you know, you're not paying for Pokemon Bank anymore because that was the thing. It was free. As anyone who downloaded it has it for free now, at least until then. But Pokemon Home, you still got to pay for. So it would be nice if everything was still wireless. Bank has some nice uses, right? Bank and Home, the means of like Pokemon Cloud Storage or whatever, or Pokemon Internet Transfer like this, is that you can do transfers with only one console rather than needing two. However, I think that a lot of other people are just kind of already used to having potentially two consoles or so on, and especially now, that's right, even with the Switch too, how games are or how like your profile is linked to the Switch and not necessarily to the cartridge as they were in previous Pokemon games. So there's that whole thing that probably makes more sense for Home. So then the thing is, you know, we'll have Pokemon Home for, who knows, maybe like 7 more years, maybe. Maybe when we move on to like the Switch 3 or whatever we got. Well, again, I mean, you know, the future is uncertain when it comes to digital stuff like this. So that's the point. If you have any physical cartridges, I think that now is going to be the time where those kind of just become like your little like time capsule, and if you want to do anything with them, you're kind of locked to like generation 3 to 6, and that little thing is its whole era. And then moving on, it's going to be generation 7 is kind of going to be an island, huh? Because yeah, you can't bring in stuff from generation 6 to 7, and you can't bring stuff from generation 7 outward. So I think this is also the time to be like, okay, just give us more remakes, and you know, just really kind of bring in the other Pokemon that we are missing, or in whatever little gaps. But again, I think basically every other gap is filled. It is just like, again, very exclusive, like you know, if you have any event Pokemon, specific event Pokemon, if you have like specific shiny Pokemon or ones that you have memories with, those are the ones. But yeah, really sad to see it go. I kind of wish it didn't have to be this way, but that's the way it is. And again, you know, I was kind of mentally prepared for it, physically prepared. Like I said, I still have a lot of stuff. I have to decide whether I want to leave some of my Pokemon in my Sun and Moon game, or if I want to bring them up into home, which I just might do at some point. So let me know what you think in the comments below about Pokemon Bank shutting down. Again, you know, probably not anything positive to say, right? But also let me know what you think about Fire Red Leaf Green and potential Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. I think that definitely it would be great if they released these on physical cartridges. That's, you know, it would have been better if they did that for this, would have been better if they did that for this. Who knows what, $20. I mean, you could put both on one cartridge for $40 and people would be fine with that. And I'm sure logistically that would work. I mean, people would buy them. You can stick Pokemon and literally anything and it will sell. So, you know, maybe please do that, Game Freak, Nintendo, sometime in the future. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave your thoughts, and if you have any problems, the other last thing to say is, if you do not have access to any of this stuff, reach out to a friend. And now is the time to do that, because I understand maybe not everybody was prepared. Maybe some people went back and bought older consoles and older games after all of this happened, and so they're not necessarily able to transfer them up because the game they have, or the 3DS they have, doesn't have Bank on it or anything, but a friend does. So I think now is really the time to kind of come together as a Pokemon community and just make sure that we've got all our stuff up, and just kind of really now separate, okay, the old consoles are going to be their own thing and they're going to be able to communicate with each other, but they're kind of stuck that way, and then new consoles are another thing. I think that, you know, obviously emotional blow, but we're gonna get through it. Just be prepared. Any memories that after February 26, 2027, any memories you make on a physical cartridge of Pokemon Emerald are gonna stay there, or, you know, the farthest they'll go is generation 6. So like I said, leave a comment below, tell me your thoughts, and if you want to see more videos like this on the second channel, go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, comment. That one's really important as well. Maybe check out some of the other videos, because soon we'll hopefully we can get monetization here. But anyway, this is Gatorix, and I'll catch you all later.